making something near and dear to my area. That's a beer cheese. So there's a lot of German population in Ohio, so I'm using a German beer, German lager, and I'm starting off right here on the grill. Of course, you could do this on the stove. I've melted some butter, and I'm gonna add to it a little bit of flour. So just making a light roux here. And you wanna let that flour cook for about 2 minutes. Let that flour taste come out of it.
It's like a fondue, no? Kinda?
Yeah, you could say that. It's kind of like a fondue.
Fondue, you're wrong.
And then I grated garlic. And I'm putting that in there. I like to grate the garlic for this dip instead of mincing it because it disperses into the cheese dip more. And Dijon mustard. I always think with pretzels, they need a little bit of mustard.
You gotta mustard.
Yeah. And the Dijon will actually kind of help thicken up this cheese a bit. And now I'm gonna add to it my beer. So I'm using a lager. You can really use any kind of full flavor beer that you like. This is not a time for light beer. And whisk it in.
You don't use it all, you know where to slide it. We keep on talking about like college. I always say the military was my college, but I went to Loyola, but I was so old that I wasn't into the party scene.
No, you're right.
I don't know what those kids were doing.
They're like Professor Anderson, you're like, I'm a student.
Exactly.
And now I'm gonna add in some grated sharp cheddar cheese.
Sharp cheddar.
And just let that, start to simmer, let it melt. And then at the very end, I'm gonna add just a splash of heavy cream.
Okay.
This just helps the whole thing come together.
Oh, I like your splash.
That was like a triple splash.
Yeah.
And let it get nice and rich and thick and creamy. Whisk it up.
Oh, man.
That looks
I mean, you
good.
gotta have the double dipper for soft pretzels. Cheese base.
Yeah.
You got a bowl over here.
Season it
Mustard
with
base,
some
you know?
salt.
Yeah, you do.
I'm gonna pep you up.
Pepper me up. Give me a little pep. Okay, pass me my bowl.
It's the bowl.
Oh, what other things would you dip a pretzel into?
You can go sweet too. You can go like an icing, like a cinnamon icing kind of deal.
True. You can do some
like
cinnamon
mayonnaise,
sugar over
too.
the top.
All right,
come
give
on.
it a taste. Let me know what you think.
There you go. We are the soft pretzel connoisseurs here.
I am from the break off the salt faction for America.
I'll see, I'm extra salt.
I love
like
they
it
gave me
all.
enough salt. I have salt dipper next to it. I love that salt.
That
Lick
is
it.
good.
Wow.
Wow.
What I
Wow.
The pepper.
Garlic.
The garlic. Yeah.
The cheese.
It comes, well, it's a cheese sauce.
Oh, sorry.
So different, both so satisfying, right?
That
Lot of
is so,
garlic,
like,
right?
in a weird way, over savory, which is so awesome. That garlic really does some work,
Think
man.
about on like a chilly day, standing there in the parking lot with a beer in hand, of course.
It is a busy day on the ranch today. Those bulls are giving Paige and the Cowboys plenty to do. So for the next ranch-friendly dinner, I want to show you a 7-layer casserole. It is filled with so many great basic ingredients, real easy to make, and it's got beef in it, which in terms of ranch dinners makes it a no-brainer. One of the things that makes this casserole so easy is that it uses bagged long-grain white rice. And those bags can just go straight in the microwave, or if you're making something that's gonna be baked, you can just pour the rice right in like I did. Also have a can of beans. You can use any kind of beans that you have, any kind you like. And then I'm gonna add some corn, so you can see we're staying really cowboy friendly right now. And this is frozen fire roasted corn. So I'll do a layer of that. So that's 3 layers so far, I'm counting. And the next is a quintessential cowboy pantry staple, tomatoes and green chilies. And it gives it a little bit of heat and sort of Tex-Mex flavor. Alrighty, next comes the beef. And all I did was just saute some ground beef with taco seasoning, salt, and pepper. Cooked it until it was done. I'm telling you, this is not a fancy casserole, and that is what is so wonderful about it. And of course, we gotta have some cheese. I'm using Monterey Jack, but you can just use whatever kind you like. I think that looks like a good amount. All right, now that's 6 layers, and the 7th layer is gonna go on when I pull this out of the oven. Speaking of that, I'm gonna bake this at 375 for 20 minutes. All right, let's see how this casserole looks. Oh, just the way it should. brown and bubbly and cheesy. All right, now, as I said, the casserole is not the complete casserole, so I'm gonna top it with a whole bunch of beautiful stuff. I've got some diced tomatoes, and I love this because the colorful toppings just kind of wake it up. So you have this real cheesy, comforting casserole underneath, and then these beautiful, colorful toppings on top. And then some avocado, kind of break it up here and there. And I have some cotija cheese, which is yummy, very kind of Tex-Mex friendly. And of course, cilantro leaves. Tex-Mex food is very popular with cowboys. They love spice and they love all the stuff that goes on top. All right, I want to show you this casserole. First of all, I want to sort of admire the layers. It's so fun. I love things like 7-layer dip, 7-layer casserole, 7-can soup. It's just kind of a fun little spin. It gives you a little thing to track as you're cooking something. Track the layers. Okay, and I'm just gonna show you how this looks when you serve it. It kind of falls apart. It does not stay in layers. It's not the kind of casserole that you cut into a neat square. I gotta take a bite of this. There's rice, there's beans, there's cheese, there's beef. It pretty much is the whole package. Tasty package.
Fresh pretzels and Cambozola pub cheese. Pretzels are yeasted bread, so we're gonna bloom some yeast. So this is 1 1/3 cups of warm water, and then a pinch of sugar. I'm gonna stir that up. And now I'm just gonna sprinkle the yeast on top. You don't wanna just kind of dump it in there because it'll clump.
I'm using a 1 1/4 ounce envelope of active dry yeast.
You just wanna stir your yeast around so all the little yeast can find sugar. I'm just gonna let that bloom. All right, now let's make the dough. So I've got 2 cups of bread flour. When you use bread flour, you're gonna get something really chewy. And then 2 cups of all-purpose. There's 2 different kinds of flours here. When you add a little bit of all-purpose, you'll get something a little bit softer. 2 tablespoons of sugar, big pinch of salt. Now let's crack some eggs. Okay, so our yeast is starting to go. Dump this in here. I'm gonna get this going on slow. Now I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of melted butter. I'm gonna mix this for like 3 minutes, just until the dough comes together and it's nice and smooth. All right, there we go. All right, that's a good looking dough. I sprayed this bowl with a little bit of cooking spray so the dough won't stick. There we go. So I'm gonna cover this dough and I'm gonna stick it on top of the fridge because it's nice and warm up there. I'm gonna let it rise for like 45 minutes to an hour. It's time, look at this. Really jumped up. So what I'm gonna do is pop this guy out. All right, so I'm gonna cut this guy right in half. I'm gonna cut it into 12 pieces. So this recipe makes 12 pretzels.
So now we're gonna form these into pretzels.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna roll these guys to about 18 inches or so. Now you'll get a nice, big, long snake. So I'm gonna roll the rest of these out and then we're gonna shape them. Now what we're gonna do, take your guy, you make a loop, cross these guys, you have a nice big circle. Cross them again, and then fold this guy over, boop, just like that. Let's just arrange these pretzels here, and we're gonna let these proof for about 20 minutes and let it rise till it gets like nice and big. All right. So they've puffed up a little. They're really starting to look like soft pretzels. Now, the step we're doing here is really important for pretzels. This is 5 quarts of water and there's 1/2 cup of baking soda. Baking soda reacts with starch. When you put them in the oven, it turns them nice and dark brown. So now what you do is just gently take your pretzel and put it in your spider. And just drop them in here. So the pretzel's in the water for about 30 seconds. So I'll drop in 3 and then I'm gonna flip them. You see how much bigger it gets right away. And there we go. I'm putting 6 on a sheet tray because the pretzels do get bigger. Just brush these pretzels with some melted butter. Make sure everybody gets a little butter so when the pretzels bake, they'll look even. This is pretzel salt. It's a lot bigger than kosher salt. Okay, now these are gonna go in the oven at 425 degrees for about 12 minutes or so. Oh man, look at those. These look great. They smell amazingly. All right, so I'm gonna get these guys off of here and let them cool. And then, for as delicious as pretzels are, we're gonna make something even more delicious. I am gonna make a cheese dip. This is Cambozola. Cambozola is a really soft cheese. It's kind of right in between brie and blue. All right, so here's how we're gonna do this. I have a half a cup of heavy cream and then 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And what this is gonna do is gonna help keep our cheese thick. It's also gonna help the fat from the cream and the fat from the cheese play nice. Okay, we'll just mix that up. And I'm gonna turn this on low. Now I have 2 tablespoons of honey. Cambozola is pretty sharp and pretty salty. The honey is really gonna round this out. It's gonna be a delicious dip. This is like fondue to go. I have 8 ounces of Cambozola here. And now I'm just gonna slowly start melting this in here. Perfect. I would hate to get out on the trail and find that I didn't season this properly, or maybe the pretzels didn't work with it. So I think just for, for science, I should probably taste this. Salty pretzel, and this is slightly sweet because of the honey. This is amazing.
So I thought it'd be really nice to make everyone down at the news station a little appetizer as well. So I'm making a mustard green and artichoke dip, a baked dip. So I have a 14-ounce can of artichokes that I've drained. I'm gonna roughly chop that with some garlic. What I'm gonna do is just cook this artichoke up with some fresh mustard greens, some onions, some cream, some cheese. You've typically seen artichoke and spinach dip, but I'm sure you haven't seen artichoke and mustard green dip. Mustard greens, I love using them in dips and things like this because it's gonna give you that green, herby flavor without being overly tart. And we're in the South. Who doesn't love a collard green or a mustard green? I thought it'd be really nice to serve this with some pita chips. Put a little seasoning on this and bake them off. Now, I'm gonna cut each pita into about 8 pieces. So I've been thinking about this day for quite some time now, and you know what? I thought I'd be nervous, but I'm not. I'm actually more excited than anything else. It's one of those things, I was just meant for it. So I'm gonna just drizzle some olive oil on top and add my house seasoning. Garlic powder, salt, pepper, little onion powder, and paprika. I'm gonna bake these off at 400 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. While that bakes, I wanna get started on the dip. I'm gonna add a few tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna saute my onions with the artichoke and garlic. I love dips. Who doesn't love chip and dip? It's like the best appetizer known to man. So my butter is nice and melted. I'm gonna add some onions, a little salt to help sweat out those onions, and my garlic and artichoke. It's starting to smell good already. It's something about butter and onion and garlic, whew. All right, this is a good time to add my mustard greens. I know it looks like a lot of mustard greens, but as you know, once you cook it, it will shrink in size. So you just wanna cook that water out. Oh, it smells so good in this kitchen. The onions, the garlic, those greens cooking up with that butter. And we're not really cooking this until the greens are completely cooked. Remember, this is going in the oven too. So I'm just cooking it until my onions have turned translucent. I'm gonna add a little cayenne pepper, a little freshly cracked black pepper, just a little lemon zest to brighten it up a bit. Here's the part where we get creamy and cheesy. 1 cup of half and half, some grated Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna reserve a little bit to put on top, and about a half a cup of Monterey Jack. I'm gonna also reserve just a little bit more to put on top. And last but not least, cream cheese. I'm just gonna mix this together until everything becomes nice and gooey and cheesy. Once it gets to the news station, they can always reheat it, or you can actually eat this at room temp. It's delicious either way. I'm gonna add some sour cream for a little tang and more creaminess. This is a really creamy dip. One more mix. Oh yeah, you see how this is coming together? All right, let me give this a little taste. And now I'm just gonna pour this into my baking dish, get everything out. Okay, smooth it across. Now I'm gonna top it off with that remaining cheese, parm. It's gonna be nice and creamy and melty and cheesy, and that little bit of Monterey Jack that's left. All right, so before I put this in there, let me take my pita chips out. Ooh, look how beautiful these pita chips got. I like using pita chips with this dip because it just really stands up to the dip. It doesn't get soggy. Pita chip is the perfect option. Hear a crunch? Yeah. And you know what? These kind of keep very well, so you can use them during the week for like a snack. I'm gonna keep my oven at 400 degrees, bake for 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna crank it up to broil and get it nice and bubbly on top. My dip is done. Ooh-wee! Nice and golden brown and super melty. Take one of those crunchy baked pita chip. All right. It's so rich, but absolutely delicious. The lemon zest in there just kind of complements it so well. I taste the garlic, I taste the artichoke. This is overall just like a well-balanced dip.
I'm making my easy chili cheese French bread pizza. So simple. I've got the same bread. I've hollowed it out a little bit though, so I can put that chili in there and just put this bread to the side. You can make breadcrumbs. You can also put it on a sheet and toast it if you've got like a cheese sauce at your big game party. It's fun for a dip for your guests. All right, so this is just store-bought garlic butter. Be generous, you know, sometimes I'll even kind of go in and just like pour it down the center and then spread it around. I'm gonna get this into the oven to toast it. You could do 400, 450. You're just going for the edges to get lightly golden brown, and then you're gonna bring it back out and top it. Get this in here. Should only take about, 10 minutes for it to get like this. Then on the inside, I'm gonna add my 5-ingredient chili. So the 5 ingredients are so simple. It's just some ground beef, a can of tomatoes and green chilies, a can of black beans, an onion, and chili powder. All right, so I'm gonna get this into the hollows here. Just scoop this in here and get it along the length. I used to be team no beans in my chili until I put some black beans in. We've got kidney beans here. If you want to lean the beans out, you're more than welcome. And this recipe is actually so simple. All those ingredients, just add them. Makes a very quick and simple chili for your guests. Just 5 ingredients. We've got that recipe on the Food Network Kitchen app, and I'm even demoing it live for you so you can see how to put it together. But I mean, come on, it's so simple. All right, over the top of this chili, gonna add a blend of cheese, just cheddar and Monterey Jack. You can use cheddar and pepper jack, but I'm bringing a little bit of fire with jalapenos in the end. And what I really like about the jalapenos is they kind of show you a serving size. It makes it easy for people to slice up and portion on their own. So mounds and mounds of cheese. Now, over the top of that, just, you know, think about the serving size and put a jalapeno freshly sliced along the length as well. And then you can imagine when this comes out, people are gonna cut between the jalapenos. Everyone gets a nice little jalapeno bite. And it also adds some curb appeal. And just keep on going down along the length. Now, this isn't done. When I bring it out of the oven, there's more toppings. As GZ and I were called, wow, GZ, the accoutrement, what is going on? Please, right. Okay, I'm gonna get this into the oven for about 15, 20 minutes at 400 degrees. All right, over here, putting a little bit of scallions over the top, making it rain scallions.
Rain, make it rain. You can't have enough basil or cheese as far as I'm concerned.
Cilantro over the top to kind of match your basil love.
Oh.
Then a nice drizzle of crema. If you can't find crema, it's just a looser version of sour cream. Just get in there and add a little bit of milk to your sour cream, or even water. Sometimes I'll do some lime juice to loosen it up.
Just sounds better, crema, right?
It does. Just get that on there. And then a nice shake of hot sauce. You ready to put this down, Jeezy?
This is a lot of work here.
All right.
Beep, beep, beep.
I mean, come on.
Oh. Hook me up with the chili and the cheese and the chili and the cheese.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Jeezy. Of course he would cut his in half. I'm gonna cut mine just like you.
That is delicious. The crunch.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm scoring a touchdown with this one. It's a beef chili-like mixture covered in miniature corn dogs. That's right, it's a corn dog hot dish. So to start, I'm chopping up an onion. And I've also got some chopped celery. I'll just get these softening in my braiser. I'll add a drizzle of oil. I have this going over medium-high. So I'll add in my onion and 3 stalks of chopped celery. And add a pinch of salt. And just stir this around and allow the veggies to soften. A hot dish is a type of casserole that's a full meal in a pot. It's got veggies, meat, some kind of sauce to hold it together, and something fun and crispy on top. I've got a pound of 90-10 ground beef, and this isn't too fatty. I figure since I'm covering this thing with a blanket of cheese and corn dogs, I'll give us all a fighting chance. I'll break it up with my spoon, and as it cooks, I'll season it. I'll sprinkle in a half teaspoon of kosher salt, some black pepper, crank up the heat with some chili powder, cumin, garlic powder, half a teaspoon of celery salt, a nod to my favorite Chicago hot dogs, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Is kind of unexpected, but I love the warmth that it provides. And I'll continue cooking this over medium-high, breaking the meat up with my spoon until it's browned, about 6 to 7 minutes. The beef is cooked. I'll build my sauce right in my braiser. I've got a can of tomato sauce, and then some other hot doggy elements. I've got pickle relish. I'm using the sweet kind because I love that added sweetness. Gotta have mustard on a dog. And the bright tanginess is a good balance to all these heavy flavors. And 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce will add more saltiness and really tasty depth. I'll stir this around and then reduce the heat to medium and simmer this just for a few minutes so that the flavors can meld and allow the mixture to reduce slightly. I don't want it to be overly liquidy and make my corn dog sink. This is looking cozy. I've got the corn dogs, but first, I'm gonna lay down a layer of shredded cheddar cheese, which will sort of act as a barrier to prevent the corn dogs from getting soggy on the bottom, and also it'll be melty and good. I wanna get it all the way to the edge so you get crispy cheese edges. And now the corn dogs. So, just like tots, you want these in a thin single layer all over the top so that they bake up evenly. I'll do concentric circles since it'll be pretty. This is a perfect choose-your-own-adventure dish because you can either just have an appetizer and pick off a corn dog, or you can scoop to the bottom and get the chili too. I'll continue on topping this and then stick it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes until these corn dogs are golden and crisp. That is the smell of happiness. I mean, how could you not smile looking at this? I'm smelling the corn from the corn dog coating. All right, the last thing I'll do is finish it up with some chives just because it's pretty. It's like football grass. I'm gonna find an extra crispy one. I've got my ketchup on standby to help cool it down so it doesn't burn my mouth. I'm getting all the way to the bottom to get some chili. That is ridiculous. The sweetness of the corn dog is bringing this home for me.
Football-shaped whoopie pies.
Did you draw? Are these your footballs?
Yes, here.
Okay, these are not footballs. That scares me. That's really, is that what you think of the great American sport?
Rugby.
Is that? All right, let's make someone sad on a soccer ball. Okay, so what are you making?
Tailgating is all about football, right? And whoopie pies shaped as footballs, that is the perfect dish for any tailgating party. So the first thing that I do is I cream some brown sugar and butter and add eggs one by one. Then I go ahead and sift some cocoa powder, some flour, a generous portion of cayenne pepper.
Holy cayenne, Batman.
You need a little bit of a kick.
Did you see this?
I saw it. It was gnarly.
Garam masala, which is an Indian blend of spices. Put some baking powder, baking soda in it, salt. So I go ahead and slowly take all the dried ingredients and put it in with the butter, egg, and sugar mixture. Let everything come together. Then I take that mixture, put it in piping bags, and I have traced out mini footballs on parchment paper, and then I go ahead and pipe those footballs and fill it up. I pop the cookies into the oven for around 10 to 15 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. To make the filling, I go ahead and take some cream cheese and some vanilla paste, some confectioner's sugar and some butter, and just a touch of garam masala, and just whisk everything together till it's light and fluffy. So it's going to be like a sandwich.
Oh, a sandwich. I didn't know we were having sandwich.
After I take the cookies out, I let the cookies cool. Then I make a glaze with confectioner's sugar and cocoa powder and put that over half of the cookies. Once the glaze is set, it's time to make the footballs. I make the football laces with the filling mixture. I go ahead and put the garam masala cream cheese whipped filling in the center of the cookies and then put the top right on top and make the perfect sandwiches.
I don't ever focus on menus for the dessert necessarily, but she really took a lot of time. It really looked good. I mean, it was a very well executed dessert.
Pork and apples go hand in hand. So I am getting started on my pulled pork sliders with an apple slaw on top. So I'm going to season both sides of my house seasoning. That is salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and paprika. And to this pot right here, I have 2 large onions that I have quartered, and that's going to sit at the bottom. And so once these juices from the pork shoulder kind of drip out as it cooks, the onions are going to sit in those juices, and that's going to be a part of the slider. I need to wash my hands before I make my braising liquid. All right, so I have my braising liquid here, a little apple cider, and chicken stock. Pork shoulder, apples, slaw, screams the fall. So I am going to heat this up a little bit, get that braising liquid bubbling. And while that does that, I am going to make my apple slaw to go along with those pork sliders. I have some matchstick carrots here, some cabbages, Tuscan kale, and of course, beautiful apples. So I'm just gonna tuck it in tightly, and I'm gonna julienne, cut in thin strips. Okay, I'm gonna now cut my cabbage. I have green and purple cabbage. And I'm just mixing it up for a little color. I have 2 apples here. Of course, I'm gonna cut around the core, and I'm going to leave the skin on for a little texture. You wanna slice that in half and just slice really tiny. Little matchsticks, see? Just like the carrots. So I'm adding apples to this slaw because it's gonna add a little bit of sweetness and texture. I am going to add my carrots to the bowl as well. So that's carrots, cabbage, apples, and some kale. Now I'm gonna make a simple dressing for this slaw. So I've got some mayo, a little Dijon mustard, bringing in some of that mustard flavor from the pork shoulder, a little apple cider vinegar. It's all about the apples today. And this is gonna be a tangy and a little sweet slaw. The sweetness is gonna come from the natural sweetness of the apples. A little salt and pepper, and a little honey to balance out the acidity from the vinegar. There we go. Now I'm gonna pour my dressing. Give it one more mix. All right, so that's mixed up. I'll put that to the side. I'm gonna cover this and let it sit in the oven. It's on 300 for a few hours. You know, the longer this cooks, the softer it gets and the easier it pulls apart. My pork shoulder has been in the oven for a few hours now. Because I've been cooking it low and slow, it's shredding like butter. And the pork is gonna soak up all of those juices. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna turn my heat off and build my sliders. I have some toasted pretzel buns here, and I've buttered them as well. I'm gonna put my pulled pork shoulder at the bottom on that buttered bun, and it's gonna soak up all of this braising liquid. Take some of that slaw and put it right on top. Close it off and give it a bite. Wow. That pulled pork literally melts in your mouth. And then the slaw on top, it's a little sweet and it's a little tangy. And then the pretzel bun is just the perfect vehicle for this goodness.
Cookie butter cookies, okay?
Cookie butter cookies.
Cookie butter, CBC.
butter.
You ready for this?
I'm ready to be
Alex, are you ready to make some cookies with me?
I am ready. I love cookies.
It's hard work you're gonna be doing over there. You gotta whisk. Okay,
All right,
go
let
gadget
me,
whisk
Let me get in the
arm.
headspace.
Just 1 egg, there's some vanilla extract and some salt. Whisk it all together in the bowl. I've got a stick of butter in my stand mixer here. Just gonna hit it. This is the creaming part, right?
Yeah.
You wanna get the actual cookie butter in. Now, if you don't know what cookie butter is, AKA speculoos, it's going to remind you of a gingerbread cookie with lots of sweet cinnamon and warm spice, notes to it. Funny story, I bought some cookie butter cookies one time from a company, and I don't know, for some reason at the time, I couldn't have them delivered to my house. So I had them delivered to my friend's house. She likes them too, and I said, yeah, you can have a box. I literally didn't get any of them. She ate them all. Some brown sugar, some granulated sugar, okay? I'm gonna bring that down and mix it up. Well, the goal here is to really get cream going. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of grains going on with the granulated sugar, the brown sugar. So we just want everything to be nice and smooth. It's gonna get a little bit lighter in color because the air is getting whipped into it. And so instead of being that deep brown color the speculoos was, it's gonna get this nice light color. And then I'll put it back in there.
So important, scraping the sides while you're creaming, too.
It really, really is. Bring it all together.
And Sunny, I noticed that stick of butter was very room temperature.
Super room
Also,
temperature.
so-
All right, so to this, we're gonna add that egg. Thank you. The vanilla extract. That little pinch of salt. Remember to turn down your mixer to as low as possible. Add the flour in, okay?
Oh.
Now that's gonna blend up. When that blends up, you're gonna get it into a plastic bag, plastic wrap, put it into the refrigerator, and then you're gonna bring it out and roll it up. But look, I've already got it rolled up right here. Just like this. Thank you, Alex.
I love cookies.
You're gonna roll it out just like, sugar cookies. And then get your actual cookie forms.
You got a little jersey.
Little jersey right here. Then we've got a football, and everyone loves that. We're number one.
Yeah.
We're number one. So that finger, you can get these at the party store, at the grocery store, in the baking aisle. I've got the oven set to 350 degrees. It's only gonna take 10 to 12 minutes for these to bake. Get them in there.
Smells so good. You
I
can
love
smell that.
cookies.
The
I gotta
cookie
tell
in
ya.
the cookie.
Nothing like a cookie and some beer before the game, And then here you have them. So they come out of the oven. You want to let them cool down, obviously, on a little bit of a wire rack. And then you just get some royal icing. You can buy it or make it, and then just start decorating so they actually look like what they should. I'll do this upside down. Just come around here.
Laces out.
Laces
This is
up.
something that kids would be into doing, too.
They really would.
Oh, wow, look at that artistry.
Have a little fun with it, and a little football right there. Here we go.
Oh, gorgeous.
Wow, you
we
were
have
fast.
more time, yeah. And here you go, guys.
Oh, pass them on down.
So nice.
There you go.
Oh,
I
pass down.
want a football.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the cookie and the cookie.
I love
Great having that
cookies.
taste of the cookie butter come through. It's like a slight hint of spice. And the cookie itself is so nice and chewy.
The kids are on their way to the writing lesson, so I'm gonna start throwing together some sloppy joes for later. Good old meaty, wonderful, drippy, messy sloppy joes. I just love them. Okay, the meat's all browned up. So the first thing I need to do is drain the fat. I'll leave a little bit for flavor. Okay, much, much better. Now I've got half of a medium onion that I diced. I'll throw that in, and a green pepper. And then I have 5 cloves of minced garlic. These sloppy joes are mighty flavorful. Now the basis of the sloppy joe sauce is good old ketchup. I'm gonna squeeze in probably a cup and a half or so. Okay, and then I'll add 2 heaping tablespoons of brown sugar just to give the sauce a little sweetness. Is that heaping enough for you? Some salt and pepper. It's a lot of meat we're seasoning here. And then for some really great flavor, I add a couple of teaspoons of chili powder. It adds a little spice too, but really gives it a nice kick. And then a heaping teaspoon of dry mustard. Gives it some nice tang. And then for a little bit more of a kick, I'll just add a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. And then several dashes of Worcestershire just to give it some nice savoriness. Okay, and then because I'm that kind of gal, a couple dashes of hot sauce. 2 or 3 or 4. And then I'll just add a cup of water to kind of bring all this together and make a really yummy sauce out of it. Now I'll just kind of stir it all together and see what I've got. And I usually adjust things here and there. It looks like it could use a little more ketchup, a little more depth of color. Squeeze a little more in there. All right, now I've got this just where I want it. So I'm just gonna put the lid on and let it simmer for about 25 minutes or so. I got some food up at the lodge for you guys, so you can go heat it up and chow down. What are you gonna do?
Where are you going?
I feel like riding, I think.
Where's the horse at Buck's at, Todd?
So I have a date with your horse, Alex.
Good.
See you guys later. Have a good one. Bye, Lee.
You have a good ride. Get on the left side.
I know. I don't get no respect. Hey, let's go. Go, Pee-wee.
Smells good.
Yeah. I wonder how Mom's getting along on her horse.
I don't know, last time I saw her, she was going over that hill over there.